Hello, trading is closed on December 21st, 2018. What a day. According to what I read, this is the worst decline the market's had in over 10 years and the worst December decline since 1931. Let's go over our calls and let's try to make a call for next week. Next week is historically when the Santa Claus rally happens. It's supposed to be one of the strongest weeks of the year. Is Santa going to come? Well, yesterday we said that we came close enough to my 24.37 target to make me think it might hold, and all it would take to convince me that it would be a low would be the gap and probably take out these highs. Well, we didn't. We had conflicting indicators. When that happens, the commonest thing is to gap and promptly move outside the day's range. That didn't happen. Next most common is to close a little changed. That didn't happen. And the least common by a large margin is for neither one of those things to happen. Neither one happened. We closed down over 50 points. Now, Monday's open is a surrogate for today's close. So if we gap up about 50 points, I get partial credit. Before you laugh, let's look at some other stuff. I'm not saying we will. I'm saying I'm not throwing in the towel. We have Monday is a day with the early high, tends to be a positive day. If it drops, it goes down in a straight line. Now, 24.37 was my target. I said it wasn't the only target that worked. This is another target that works. I've seen some pretty smart people try to pick the low. I'm not going to try to pick it, but I'm going to tell you if we gap up smartly, that works. Don't have to bet money on it. MEJT gave a buy, says this move is false, gives us a target of 24.5664. When you're in free fall like this, it's less likely to print, but that's the target. Can't say it'll work. We are way under the Bollinger Band on the weekly chart. We don't typically go more than a bar over it or under it. We're also under a TDST line from way back when. We typically don't go under it and more than a bar. Doesn't mean this isn't going to be the exception. Now we do get to cross this number off the list. You can see how there's support resistance right at the number. And if we keep dropping, here are the new numbers. There is strong Fibonacci support at this price based on a number of different patterns. Here's the consolidation. You take this high and this low. You set it at 23.6 and there's your high. You set it at 38.2 and there's this low and there's this high. And what's interesting is that if you go in the other direction, you get that low. Maybe I should do it this way. That's not what I want to do. 0 is there. Here's 100, 61. So you'll see this point, this point, this point, this point, all your important points are all Fibonacci targets. And when we hit this one, the pattern was completed. Now, here was my 24.37 target. It was a perfectly good target. Anything beyond that's a guess. And it was disappointing when that broke. But there is a rule that when you have a long consolidation on a day and you break right at the end of the day in the last hour, often it's because the big money's gone home and the amateurs are just selling in a wall at any price. If that's true, this gets reversed promptly and completely, at least by gapping over this high, and ideally gapping up the 50 points it takes to close over these highs and satisfy the target. Now, we still have this volume spike, which tends to be associated with a low. It would be nice if we could find some Fibonacci support on the grander scale for this low. You don't have to go through too many contortions to do that. All you have to do is change the count to A, B, C for A, then B, and then C work. Let's put it under the microscope. Well, if that's your A, and you set it at 78.6, there's your target. And if you want to go through all these other things, you can see how the ABC works for A, how the ABC works for B, and how the ABC with A equal to C if that's A, I mean, that's pretty good if you ask me. And all these other waves work too. There's A, B, C, and then gray, A, B, C. So if that holds, you at least have some Fibonacci support. Now we're markedly oversold. I think trying to pick a bottom and bet money on it is kind of risky for me. All I'm going to say is this is one of the numbers that works. And if we gap up strongly over these highs, or at least take him out promptly, if that happens, that's the end of the down move. I don't know if it'll happen. I'm going to wait until Monday, but at least it's one of the plausible places. We might get Santa Claus after all, and that's today's call.